a lot of misunderstanding happen. Just 2 days ago, I met this lady, and we were doing some church work back in church. So after the meeting, she shared that, oh, I have some physical illness that I shouldn't carry anything heavy. So I saw her carry all this heavy chair. So I told her, Auntie, let me carry the chair for you. The information that I would like to give to her is that I care for her. I don't want her to hurt her back. But then she said, hey, Pastor, you say I'm old. I cannot carry heavy stuff. So I said, no. What I'm trying to say, I care for you, and therefore I don't want you to carry heavy items. Now, if we only hear what I say, sometimes we will conclude that, oh, you simply said that I'm old, I'm weak. And so by properly listen to the information given to you, we will prevent a lot of misunderstanding. Then, assumption. Oftentimes we don't say what we want to say, or we say to the wrong person. And by listening, you prevent or you avoid assuming that you think you know what the person is trying to say. By listening seriously, we actually help to clarify a lot of assumption. Now, many people, when they meet me for the first time, their assumption is that I'm a very serious, unfriendly, and very scary person. That's the word. Until they start to realize that when I talk in a very different way than the look that I have. And so, when we listen to what people really say, it kills a lot of assumption that we have over that person. Maybe you already have assumption that, oh, this person is angry. This person is not happy. This person is got insulted with what I say. But when you listen to them and you clarify what they're trying to say, then you realize that maybe it's not that bad. Maybe actually they just want to express that they disagree with you, but not necessarily that they hate you, they got angry with you, and so on and so forth. Then a lot of prejudice also can be eliminated when we actually listen well to people. Sometimes when people just express their abrupt emotion in one burst, we assume that, we say, oh, this person is angry man. I don't like to talk to them. But probably when you listen to them well, maybe they just have a bad day that day. Or maybe they just fought with their spouse. Or maybe they just got scolded by their boss. And by trying to listen to them, to what they really want to say, it helps us not to have any prejudice against them. Then it's also helps us to prevent loneliness. One of the biggest problems in Singapore, if some of you are really aware, is the high number of suicide, but also high number of loneliness among the senior citizen. In this country, it's one of based upon the studies being done in 2012. They found out that Singaporean, especially the senior citizen, is one of the loneliest people in the world because they have nobody to talk to. Their family usually leave them when they have their own family. They only visit them during Chinese New Year or Christmas or celebration, and throughout the rest of the day or throughout the rest of their life, they speak to nobody. And sometimes when they talk to their own children, sometimes when they talk to their own family, they just, okay, fine, I send you money, problem solved. But these people actually looking for someone to listen to them. We are a human being, we are a social being. Like it or not, we need to share our emotion. Unfortunately, many people felt being rejected because nobody listened to them. Or when they try to talk, people will just say, okay, fine, 3 minutes, done. There is no serious listening happening. And by doing a proper listening, we can help people find that they are not alone. Especially, I think, when we deal with our recipient, especially in our PIF project, I believe there are many of you who realize that these people don't really need your help to tell them their medical condition and so on and so forth. They just want you to listen to them. They just want you to be there to share their burden and stories. And many times, even in Chuan Ho, they ask us to come back, not because they are so desperate to know what is their blood pressure. They just need someone to knock on their door, look at their face, and sit down and listen to them. And so I think if we listen well, then we can help our recipient also to find joy and blessing in our service to them. Then, of course, we will also avoid desperation. Now, desperation here, it does not mean they're looking for a girlfriend and they cannot get and they got desperate. No. Desperation simply means that they already come to the level of their life where they said, nothing is good for me anymore. I'm hopeless. Nobody will ever care for me anymore. And by helping them to know that you are willing to listen even to their most lousy story ever, they will find that there is still hope for themselves. That there is still people out there willing to feel my story as something that is important, something that will brighten up their day, or just simply share their own burden. And so these are the things that we can help others by listen well. And then now let's go to the types of support. Okay, whatever types of listening that you do, basically you will cover one or two of this way of help. Okay, number one, we call it ventilation. This is when you give permission to others to vent out whatever things they have in their own mind. For those of us who like to do counseling, we call this emotional detox. You know, when you do a physical detox, you basically take out all the poison from your body, and through healthy living, through drinking juice, and so on and so forth. Emotionally also, sometimes we do need emotional detox. Otherwise, the poison, so-called emotional poison, will continue to run through your head, and that is unhealthy. And so ventilation simply means you vent out all the things to someone else. And so when you do listening, usually it will come in as the form of ventilating. So you are becoming the recipient of all the things they want to pour it out to people. Then the second one, exploration of problem. You know, people get confused. People actually cannot think clear when they are in panic mode, when they are anxious, when they are so worried about their life. And if you ever heard about a speaker by the name of Pastor Mark Ganger, I think some of you have heard about him. He said that men's and women's brain are quite different. Now, men's put their brain like a box. Everything is a box. But women will put their brain, like rojak, mix everything. The problem of yesterday can be something of today as well. You know, the thing that you say when you are still boyfriend and girlfriend still exists until today. Sometimes your mistake of not cleaning the dish 3 years ago, sometimes still remembered today. Now, people, when they are confused, when they are worried, when they are scared, when they are anxious, they like to relate to many things that happens in their life. When you listen to them, you're helping them actually to explore the problem carefully. And so by listening to them, you're actually enable them to tackle the problem as the problem exists. Because sometimes we have the tendency to connect it to different things that are not related. But when we listen to them well, we help them to explore. Well, actually, the problem here is not so much because you are bad or because you are ugly, but simply because maybe you felt that you are not being welcome in the place that you stay or in the house that you stay, and so on and so forth. When they have conflict with their parents or with their children or with their family members, sometimes people are easily blame and generalize everything. Or sometimes when we have conflict in the house or in the church or everywhere, we like to generalize everything. Everybody is bad. All the people are bad. Every single member are not nice. Even though maybe it's just a single member of the church that offend them. Maybe it's just a simple word that being spoken on that Sabbath. But sometimes people will say, every Sabbath I came, I always got into this problem, even though it's only that particular Sabbath. When we listen well, we can explore and tackle the problem instead of generalizing it all over the place. Then sometimes it's to clarify. This is one of way of helping as well. Means that you clarify what is the real issue. You make things clearer than what the person seems to portray to you. Sometimes ago we had this case as well when one of strangers come to church. And when he came to church, he said that, I'm looking for a job. And I've been kicked out from my church, and the pastor there is very bad. And so I know you are a good pastor. You will welcome me, right? So I said, okay, can you tell me your story? Why, and I talk, try to clarify what does he mean by the pastor there is very bad. Apparently, following his story, I realized that he got caught actually taking a member's cell phone in his previous church. And so it's a serious case. And so, of course, the pastor will defend his member and excuse this man for not attending the church anymore. And if I only listen to him and say, oh, wow, your pastor is very bad. Okay, welcome. I'm a better pastor than him. Come here. Maybe all the cell phone in my church also gone. So by using clarification, you listen to them and hear what the story is all about. Then you realize that certain things are not the way it was presented at first. And then the fourth one is suggestion. By listen well, you can actually prompt them a solution. Maybe they couldn't find a solution. Maybe they were confused. They never thought about that angle before. And when they realize that actually someone listened to them, automatically they will think, oh, actually, I haven't tackled that angle before. I haven't seen that point of view before. You actually suggest to them certain things that they might not see in their own personal perspective. Then the last three, reassurance. A lot of people, and especially if I can share with you, one of the challenges for us in Singapore is that many students or many children are struggling with self-esteem because of the way the society works in Singapore, where they push everyone to be on top. If you are not on the top level of your studies, if you are not top level on your school, if you are not achieving well, you are considered as low-class citizen or even nobody. And so a lot of people are struggling with having confidence for themselves. I have to talk to many students in school and even in church setting when they are so talented, they are so good in certain things, but because they are not good in mathematics, they are not good in science, they felt that they have no value in life. But actually they are good. They are very good in drawing. They are good in creative ideas. They are good in singing. They are good in convincing others. They are good in analytical skill. They are good in listening to others. But as long as your mathematics and your science is not on the top level, they felt that they are nobody. And the society continued to press it that way, that you must excel on the academic performance. By listening to people, actually you can give them reassurance that, well, maybe yes, your mathematic skills or your grades on these subjects are not that good, but you still have talents and gift in other places. Maybe they are good in singing song. Maybe they are good in performing drama. Maybe they are good in preaching. Who knows, some of them can be a pastor. When you listen to them, you'll be able to help them, to direct and motivate them to find a different angle to improve themselves. Then education. Now this happens a lot, especially when we talk about certain sensitive subjects. One of my personal interests, which I think quite rare among pastors, is I like to explore human sexuality. And so many times I have to give counsel, especially premarital counseling, to many couples who thinks they know everything before their wedding night. And unfortunately, that's not true. And so when we give counsel to people, we actually help them to be educated, especially if you have special knowledge in specific things, in health, in nutrition. When you listen, you give them opportunity to actually learn from you. Then the last one, which I think very important, is empathy. To share their emotional need to the one that will listen to them. When actually you listen to a person, whatever stories that they have, when they share their story, there is an emotional transfer that actually happening between two of you. And so when you listen to them, they're actually sharing not only the words, not only the experience, but the feelings with it. And especially in our culture, especially in Asian culture, many times we are not educated well on how to share our feelings. Most of the time when we grow up, we always being taught that crying is wrong. Because every time we cry, usually what our parents will say, why you cry? Stop crying now. And so we seldom able to identify that crying is actually an emotional expression of fear, anger, even happiness. And then when we are, sadness, when we are happy, then usually, because of our culture, we try to suppress happiness. Oh, congratulations for whatever. Oh, no, please don't thank me. Oh, sorry, it's not me. Give glory to God. Even though we are so happy inside, we try to be humble, but we don't know that it's actually suppressing our emotion. So sometimes, when people congratulate me, say, oh, congrats for this. I say, thank you, praise the Lord. Because at least I embrace that feelings of happiness. But sometimes, or many times, we are educated that way. You have to suppress any emotion. You cannot cry, and when you're happy, you shouldn't show it, because that is impolite, or it's not right. But I think being liberated in the grace of Christ, I think Christ himself was an emotional person. When he cried, he cried. When he was angry, he got angry. He's real with his emotion. So I think when we also allow people to express their emotion, it's actually a great help for many people, especially in Asian context. Now, the big question, how? All those things are theoretical, right? That is all the things that we hear in school. So now what is the how? So what should I do in order for me to listen well? Of course, the first thing that we need to do is to prepare ourselves well. Many people who wants to be a good listener, they don't realize what is the role of a listening ear. So the number one priority when we want to listen well is that we have to be aware that my role here is to listen. And so what does it mean? I have to get ready to listen. And when we want to say we get ready to listen, it does not mean, listen means I have to provide solution. I have to give him a good counsel. No. The first step of listening is to what? To listen. Just listen. Sometimes you might think, wow, how to listen? It's an automatic, natural process of every human being. Just put yourself and your mindset, okay, I'm here to listen. Number 2, be aware of your own emotion and feeling. Because oftentimes we translate our own feeling instead of the one that we are listening to. So for example, I'm not happy today, maybe because I had a bad fight with my family member. Then suddenly someone come to me and said, today potluck food is a little bit salty. And because I'm angry, I translate my anger and looking at this person and said that, you're upset because of the food is not nice, then go home, no need to eat. So sometimes we translate our own feeling instead of understand, so you are not happy because the food is not nice. Can you share why? Instead, go home, I also not happy, life is miserable, God is not fair, and so on and so forth. So when we are aware of our own emotion, we realize that actually we are able to listen well, as long as we don't translate our own emotion towards them. Then be sensitive of the surrounding. That's the third thing that we have to remember. If you want to listen to someone while the song leader is asking us to sing, of course, that's not a good time. Or when you are praying, then suddenly this person says, can I talk to you now? Absolutely, it's not the right time. Sometimes maybe you are in a place where it is hard to concentrate to hear what this person say. We need to be very aware of the situation or the things around us. Not only the physical situation, sometimes also the social situation. For example, if you are a man and this lady wants to talk to you, of course you cannot go and say, okay, let's find a corner somewhere where nobody can see us. That is against the ethics. And then, for example, also if you have their family member with them, and you realize that they're actually not in the talking term. And they start to say, oh, I want to talk to you, but please don't put my family members around. You need to clarify with this person, may I know why you don't want them to know why we need to talk? Because sometimes you listen and listen and listen and listen, you don't realize that actually their family are not happy. Or they just want to tell bad stories about their family member or their parents or whoever there. So we have to be very sensitive of the surroundings. Certain times also, for example, 2 a.m. in the morning, and this person call you. Of course, you're not in your perfect state of mind. We have to be able to say, sorry, this is not the proper time. We shouldn't talk right now. Can I see you early in the morning? Or you can say, okay, can I make an appointment to meet you to talk about this? And then sometimes it is healthy to bring yourself another partner if that is okay with the person that you want to talk to. And then the last one is to be open-minded. This is, I think, one of the challenges that a lot of people struggle. We need to be open-minded when we listen to people. Don't jump to conclusion. Because listening process can take a long time. Sometimes it can take hours, sometimes it can take days, sometimes it can take many meetings before you're finally able to tackle what is this person trying to say. So don't jump to conclusion. Don't say, oh, yeah, I know lah, you just want money, is it? Or, oh, I know lah, you just want me to... Let them talk. Let them say whatever they want to say. You might not have the solution right now. It's okay, as long as they are allowed to share what they really want to share. Now I like to use this acronym that I developed it myself. It's called Listen Well. Okay, it's an acronym that in my own personal practice, it's really pretty effective. So Listen Well stands for all this principle over here. And so we can read it together. And this is usually the way I do when I listen to people. And so the first L stands for let the person speak. Okay, so we have repeated it again and again, but I think this is the most important part of listening, and that is to let the person speak. So when the person speaks, of course, you have to put yourself in a situation where you are the recipient of whatever information, whatever emotion, whatever feelings that they share with you. Let the person speak. Allow them to express whatever things they want to say. And then number 2 is initiate secured feeling. Means that sometimes when we listen to people, we forget that they will share with you some of the deepest, some of the intimate, some of the most private things that they never share it to anyone else, including their own family member. So we have to allow them to know that when they talk to you, they can be guaranteed that there is a security. Means that you won't tell it to anyone, you won't be the one that will spread these whole stories to everyone, and allow them to say, okay, whatever things that you would like to say to me, I will let you know that I will keep it for myself. Or if you cannot, you have to let them know. Say that, okay, this issue is sensitive because it's related to your family member. So I need you to know that I need to share it with your family member. Is that okay with you? If they say, oh, please don't, then you have to honor that request. That, okay, I cannot share it with you, with your personal family member, and so on and so forth. In the lesson that we learned back in school, in certain countries, actually, you have to write a consent form. For whatever things that you share between two of you, the recipient or the one that the counselee, need to sign a consent form to declare that he is willing to share it with you. But I think in Singapore, it doesn't work that way that much. I'm not sure right now. But one thing is important is that you have to initiate a secured feeling. You have to let the person know that all the conversation is secured. This is something that is only between you and me. Then number 3 is show interest. Now, being a pastor, sometimes you know when you preach and your member is really interested or not. from their body language, from their reaction to you. And then sometimes after sermon, they will come to you and say, "Oh, Pastor, good sermon." Usually I will ask, "Can you elaborate to me which part that is good?" When they can tell, then I say, "Oh, you listen well." And so when we talk to our counselor as well, you have to let them know that you are interested in what they want to say. Sometimes they talk and talk and talk and talk to you, and then you just, yeah, okay, we need to show that we are interested. So how? Well, first, maintain eye contact. Well, don't stare at them, but basically help them to realize that there is this communication between two of you. Body language is also important. When you cross your hand, when you cross your hand or you sit uncomfortably, it's a sign that you are not interested. So you have to put yourself as relaxed as possible and to let them know that, hey, I'm interested in you. And of course, we learn what we call as paraphrasing. Paraphrasing simply means that whatever things that the person say, you paraphrase it. So for the person say, "Oh, today my cat died." And so you can say, "So you means that your cat is not alive anymore," or something like that. It's just trying to paraphrase to show that you're interested with them. Then the T is tackle the issue with honesty. Means that when you listen to them and you didn't hear it clearly, okay, don't pretend that you hear or you listen to what they say. Sometimes we have the tendency, swipe it off. Then the person repeated again, then they said, "Hey, I told you already what? Sorry." So we have to be honest when we say, "Sorry, I didn't hear what you say. Can you repeat it? Can you elaborate some more what you are trying to say?" Instead of like, just and swipe it off. Because when they know that you don't really listen to them, it breaks that trust that often comes with listening. Then explore the unspoken body language. Are they agitated? Are they sweat a lot when they talk to you? Are they looking around trying to... if you know that there is a science just studying for this body language alone. For example, we learn certain people, when they lie, they will actually look to the wall. Why? Because when someone is lying, their brain will tell their eye to focus their attention somewhere else to hit a specific part of the retina where it's supposed to be part that is identifiable with telling deception. So sometimes when you look at, but of course this one you need to learn a little bit more. I'm not an expert on it. I just know a little bit. Body language is important. Sometimes they already exhausted over all the things that they have said to you. But trying to be very good listener, you say, "Can you tell me more?" But maybe they don't have anything anymore to share. So you have to be aware that maybe, that's it. They just want to say a little things or they want to talk more and so on and so forth. Then note down important information. Note down, you can do it mentally. And if you want to do it in a written form, you have to let the person know that you will write down all the things. Because once again, privacy and confidentiality is very important. So when you want to note down things, you have to let the person know. I will write it down. I will let you know that this is only for me. And so you have to make sure also that whatever note that you have for them, it's really only you can access that information. Then, next one, watch for repetitive expression. This is simply watching common words that they use again and again. I'm angry, I'm upset, I don't like. Once you start to watch that, there are certain patterns of word that they use. That means that word is very important for them. And you can start, I notice that you like to express you don't like things that is happening in your house. Can you help me to know more why? Or maybe you notice that they like to talk about a specific person. Maybe their pastor, maybe their wife, maybe their children, maybe their grandparents or parents and so forth. Because people will speak subconsciously things that are really important in their mind. And when they are relaxed, when they know that they're in a secure situation, then they're able to express something openly. And oftentimes, those subconscious things that they like to have in their mind will come out naturally. So we have to watch for the repetitive expression, things that they like to continue to repeat. Just this morning, I have to listen to another person who just came to our church. And I realized he mentioned a lot about his wife and his children. And by God's grace, we realized that this is the issues that they can tackle together. And so repetitive expression is something that is very important. Then elaborate the unclear. This is similar to honesty. Explore what are the things that they are not clear. And then paraphrase it or rephrase it or repeat what they say. That's how we elaborate the unclear. Then L, limit the time and space. Now this is the challenge as well. Sometimes out of our kind heart, we think that by listening more, we are doing better or we are doing the best for them. Not necessarily true. Some people, they just like to talk. They just like to talk from A to Z. They will tell their whole family genealogy. They will tell you whatever things in their life that is not really related to the things that you are going to tackle. So you have to allow them to realize that there is a limit of time and space. So when you think that the conversation needs to be over, you have to let them know, sorry, I have no more time. Or maybe we can talk another time. I think it's not related. Maybe this is not a good place to talk about it. Let them know that there is a limitation. Sometimes when they trust you and when they know that you are willing to listen to them, they took it for granted. And they will call you anytime. They will just want to talk to you hours and hours and hours and hours. But to listen well, you have to know where's the limit. You have to say, sorry, no more time. This is not good timing. I'm sorry, I'm busy. Can we find another place or time? Then L, which is the second L, which is also quite challenging to many people. Leave the conversation at its place. One of the challenges in the field of counseling and listening is that oftentimes we carry the burden home. Whatever problems that people share with you, you carry it home, you cannot sleep because of it, you start to wonder, what can I do to help this person? And I think all those things are natural because we are human beings, we have been embedded, given by God, the compassionate emotion in us. But we have to realize as well that your role, your task is to be a listener. You have to leave the conversation at its place. That is one of the most important things as well, especially in dealing with our PI recipient. Sometimes you listen to them this Sabbath, then the whole Sabbath you become very stressed because you feel their burden, you feel their pain, you listen to their stories, but now it becomes your story. It becomes your burden. You cannot sleep because of it. We have to take a decision to leave it that way. When you step out from the house, it might sound unchristian, but it's actually Christian in the sense that you let God do what He needs to do. Your task is just to be able to listen to them. Because otherwise, in the listening profession as well, we have these challenges, what we call as Superman complex. Sometimes counselor will think that they are the problem solver of every problem in the world. They think that they are the one that will solve this marital problem of this couple. Sometimes they think that they will be the one that will solve the problem, financial problem of this family. But living in a realistic, sinful world, we know that certain things, it is beyond your power. And that is also a humbling experience for us because we realize that there is no difference between our recipient and us when it comes to surrendering our problem to God. And so we need to put our perspective to say that, okay, I have to leave this conversation here. I have to go back to my church, to my family, and allow God to make things happen for them, things that I cannot control, wisdom that I cannot give, insight that I cannot share with them. Then, if you forget all the things that I have said so far, please remember these 4 only, okay? Please remember all this four. This is the common sense wisdom everybody can remember. Okay, number 1, listen to the person. So again and again and again, I said, listen, listen, and listen. And then number 2, it's the person who suffer, not the problem. When we listen to people, we oftentimes focus only on the problem, how to solve it. So we find ways and means, neglecting that it is the person who is actually suffering. He's hurt, she's hurt, and she needs someone to listen to them. She needs healing. She needs emotional detox. She needs someone to be able to tackle and say, you are a person, you are valuable, I feel your hurt. So when we deal with challenges such as this, keep in mind it's the person who suffers. It's not the problem. The problem itself can be solved actually most of the time by the person itself. Our task is actually to help them to find their own way or their own solution of their own problem. So when we help them to feel better, to patch a little bit over the emotional wound that they have, it helps them in the long run to realize that, okay, someone cares for me. Someone actually listens to me. I'm a human being. I'm being treated well. I know that I'm still valuable. Then the third one, don't try to do good. This is the common problem as well. Sometimes we think that, we must do good. Everyone who come out from our listening session will have this big smile on their face, and they will have this renewed life. They will change everything in their life. They will move on with a renewed life. That it's because my counsel is very good to them. Not necessarily true. If you are dealing and if you're facing a lot of addiction challenges or problem with your recipient, you will know that addiction is not only a psychological problem, it's biological problem and spiritual problem. Certain neurotransmitter in their brain need to be fixed a bit, and it takes time. Because of my interest in sexual health and everything, I'm also interested a lot in pornography. And so we learn that for every stimulant that you actually watch, your brain will produce a neurotransmitter called dopamine. And I just came back from a seminar by Dr. Neil Nedley, for some of you who know him. And he said, this is something new that I also find very, very important and interesting. If you're addicted to anything, based upon his study, he said that you need to have a 90 days detox, emotional detox, to be abstained from all the things that you might suffering from. And oftentimes we relate addiction with substance or with pornography or gambling. But if you notice, and for those of you who work in the mental health communities, they have what they call as diagnostic and statistical manual, which is the textbook for psychology and psychiatry. And they are proposing, because the manual will be renewed, I think 2015 if I'm not mistaken. And they will add, you know what they will add this coming? Gadget addiction. Because they realize that most people, sometimes we don't realize it. A lot of people, the first thing that they do when they wake up is what? iPhone right away. Update their status, check their Facebook, replying email, check WhatsApp. And some of them, it runs automatically, subconsciously. It's not because wake up and, I want to check my Facebook. No. Their hand is just automatically grab the phone on and then lying on their bed and, looking at people's status. And so next year, if the manual coming out, so they will put and add gadget addiction, and number 2 is gaming addiction. Even internet addiction is also part of the whole branch of gadget addiction. And so when we deal with situation like this, it is the person that we need to tackle. And number 3 is we need not to be good as we think we are. Then the last one is don't try to do well. Means that you have to speak correctly all the time. You need to listen correctly all the time. Sometimes, because of our tendency also to make mistakes, certain things you might make a mistake in your listening session. But yet still, people can still come out and they can still find insight from the things that you have said in your meeting. So I think this is what I can share with all of us today. And I hope that it can help you in your service. And I believe in your paid forward service, you will meet a lot of people. Sometimes we have this joke that certain people just need them to, we just need to listen to them. And in the world and in the society like today, especially in Singapore, where there are so many noise, there are so many distractions, so many things that running through people's head, we have no time to listen and to be listened to. This is one of the greatest challenges of a first world country. Everyone is so busy. Everyone is bombarded by information and knowledge and problem and stress and everything, but they have no channel to express all this burden and all this problem that they have. Everyone is just minding their own business. When they come home, they still have to deal with so many problems. And that's why there is a great need of listening ear. In a world where there is too much noise, maybe we can be the light that can bring that simple listening help to people around us. Sometimes, probably you notice certain people like to complain about everything. Maybe in church, maybe in your community service, maybe in your youth group. Maybe. And I jokingly said, but there is a little truth on it. They just need someone to listen to them. You know, sometimes we hear, oh, every single thing also complain. Even the lightning complain, the volume complain, all these things complain. Probably not because they are a critical person, but they just need someone to listen to them. They just need someone to be able to sit and say, well, give me the information. Share your emotion. I would like to listen to that. So I hope whatever thing that we tackle this afternoon will help you. And this is just a small information compared to the broad spectrum of listening and psychological skill that I think I'm not capable to do it. But whatever things I have, I hope that it will bring benefits not only for you, not only for your recipient, but for your continual living in Christ. Thank you. Oh, no question and answer session, right?